All right, guys, how's it going? So this is one of the videos that you do that really just takes you by surprise. And this is one of the, I'd say that out of all the transfers in the transfer portal market, this might be the most surprising one. I mean, you could literally look at every single quarterback and, every single player. And I guess that there's a couple of interesting linemen that transfer out and, maybe some wide receivers. But most of the time it's because they're trying to go up to a bigger program and they're trying to get NIL. And most of the time I'd say it's because of that, that they're just trying to get NIL and get some market value for themselves in the process. But Malachi Nelson says now that he wants to enter the transfer portal, or it is believed that Malachi Nelson, there are big rumors out there that he's going to enter the transfer portal, and I don't understand it. You have Zachariah Branch. I think you have Rice, Jerry Rice's kid on this football team. You have, I know Marshawn Lloyd's going to the draft, but you have also the tight end there is ridiculously talented, Deuce Robinson from Phoenix, Arizona. So the fact that Malachi Nelson, I looked at Malachi Nelson and I thought he was the top-rated quarterback. I'm looking at a player that can, possibly be an NFL starting, franchise caliber, 5-star quarterback that can hear his name early in the NFL draft. He has mobility, he has height, he can throw the ball 60 yards in the air he can make every single throw. He's one of these unicorns from the quarterback position in terms of just sheer talent and upside. And he seemed perfect for a Lincoln Riley offense. Now, I know that Lincoln lately has been focusing on defense, and a lot of it has been the hiring of D'Anton Lynn or Matt Entz. I know that they're trying to bolster up their team to go play in the Big Ten Conference, and they're trying to improve line of scrimmages. So, interestingly, Malachi Nelson, USC wants to go now with Will Howard and let Malachi Nelson walk. Now, I don't understand this from any point of view because in any point of view, Malachi Nelson is the more talented quarterback than Will Howard, and I don't think it's remotely close. I know that we haven't seen Malachi Nelson play any football, but you're talking about a guy in Will Howard that could barely see the field his first couple of seasons at Kansas State. A little bit of a bigger quarterback, but he's kind of a statue back there in the pocket. Doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, and at Kansas State, I know he wasn't working with the weapons of Caleb Williams, but it's interesting that first of all, Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, it seems like Malachi Nelson is a mobile quarterback, a big quarterback who fits perfectly in this offense. I think he's a perfect fit. I think you're talking about a guy that can go on and win a Heisman. And if Vegas were to mark out the Heisman, no offense to Will Howard, but you're not putting Will Howard up there. Now, just speculating kind of as I'm going through this video, I just thought of this. Maybe Malachi Nelson and his NIL deal, because everything right now is structured kind of through contracts, whether you want to believe that or not or admit it or not, everything is kind of structured through contracts. So maybe Malachi Nelson, maybe he's asking for just so much more money, and maybe USC, by letting go of Nelson, will then be able to afford, maybe it's literally like an offseason trade. That's the only thing. Because if you're going Will Howard versus Malachi Nelson in a phone booth or in a vacuum, you'd have to be yesterday's years old to take Will Howard over Malachi Nelson, unless Malachi Nelson in high school, all we've seen of Malachi Nelson is see him ball out and be a great player in high school. Now, maybe there's off the field issues, so maybe they don't get along well. Maybe there's something going on, with Malachi Nelson behind the scenes, like something where he might have violated team activity or something. I don't want to basically speculate, but I'm just saying he's such a good football player. But this could also be what it's like. So let's try to, I guess, like wrap our head around this because to common logic, it makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. So this is what I would say about this process. I would say that if you are, and I'm sorry my voice is a little raspy right now, if you are going to pay Malachi Nelson a big sum of money to play, you're then not getting the pieces on the O-line, the defensive line, the secondary, and your whole team. So think of it as an NFL trade. Like, we have a good star quarterback, but we don't have pieces. So it's kind of like if you're the Chargers, you trade Justin Herbert for like a great starting left tackle, like a fantastic linebacker, couple secondary pieces. Like Malachi Nelson, maybe in NIL world and maybe in this world, maybe equals the sum of money that would maybe 5 really solid blue chip players at other positions can maybe fill out your roster. And yes, then you're talking, yes, can a more complete team around Will Howard be better for USC than Malachi Nelson and a team that has terrible defense and has no holes or has plenty of holes outside of the quarterback? Because Caleb Williams was probably making a good amount of NIL and the whole rest of the roster was terrible. Because Lincoln Riley's too smart to just put this in a vacuum, of that they don't want Malachi Nelson anymore. And first of all, he's a freshman. He hasn't played any football, at USC. I don't get it, though. He was recruited to Lincoln at Oklahoma. They have a really good relationship by all accounts. That's why he committed to him at USC. So it blows my mind. It doesn't make any sense. But now, Will Howard, there's definitely been some behind-the-scenes stuff, and you're seeing a lot of different deals of players, behind the scenes, going out there, and coaches are outright telling kids, like, hey, you're not going to be in the fold next year, whether it be Kyle McCord, whether it be Tyler Van Dyke at Miami. So with the portal and everything, a downside to the portal is if you're like a Kyle McCord at college, you're going to get replaced because the coaches are going to spend their money on somebody else. And that's the thing. It's like spending money for free agency. So it is free agency in college football. It is where it is. All right. Now, so I'm just trying to find the motive behind it, but we're going to find out, or maybe you'll never find out because it's all kind of behind closed doors and you have to speculate like this. But this is one of the biggest names to hit the transfer portal market. Then Zachariah Branch might dang well hit the market. So if you get rid of Malachi Nelson, the receivers are also going to feel some type of way about it. But again, we're going to see what happens. It might just, again, it's not completely confirmed right now, but CBS is reporting it. So many other sites are reporting it. But I think college football right now, with how it is, the Wild West out here, it is very exciting. I will tell you that. Like, I don't really like realignment. I don't, the expanded playoff. I think there should be 6 teams in the playoff. I don't think it should be a 12-team, tournament, where a 10-2 team just gets elevated to be there. I like 11-1 serious football. You have to be 11-1 to get in, and I want to see really competitive regular season games, and I love the regular season. But this transfer portal about like all-stars constantly hitting the market, like, it makes life for a content creator. It makes it exciting to talk. Oh, where's Malachi going to go? Who's he talking to now? What rumors are out there? That stuff can be exciting. It could be terrible for the people that are in college football. I think that the calendar, I think what's happening to Malik Murphy right now is absolutely horrible. It sucks. It's a kind of despicable that you have to leave your team in a championship scenario, a team that you really like, because or else you're not going to have a spot next year, or you're going to have to wait until May to get on another roster. So he doesn't have to leave, but it's a huge disadvantage if Malik Murphy did not leave. So NIL now, like parts that are kind of fun about it is, like, if you have big boosters and you as a coach are really good at selling and it's the free market, you can pay to have the best talent. And for a school like Ole Miss, a school like Louisville, if you have a good NIL, like this thing is fun. For Colorado, I think they're really good in this model of a ton of freedom, a ton of free market stuff, like no salary cap. Like, I think part of that is really fun, and it's good for the players because you're getting paid and the players can leave at any time. Now, for coaching and for stability and for fan loyalty, and the calendar's all messed up about it, but the players are getting a good amount of money. So maybe make it a 5th year, maybe say you have to stay at a school maybe 1 or 2 years and then transfer one time, and then the graduate thing can happen. But if you're going to cap NIL, I don't want to cap the ability of these kids to make money. You know, I want them, listen, if you're a Cam Ward, you're that good of a player, you're a superstar, everyone's going to buy your jersey in Miami or Florida State. Like, you grinded from small town Texas. Literally no one recruited you. No Power 5 or Group of 5 recruited you, and you're Cam Ward. All right, 0. You were just a Division 1A college athlete, and you worked your tail off, and you're that exceptional that you did not quit on the dream of being an NFL quarterback. Okay, and you did so well at the FCS level. Or I even think it's below the FCS level at Incarnate Word. And then you go to Washington State, and you're playing it in the Pac-12 at one of the toughest places to play in the Pac-12, and you're that good. Everyone's buying everything of Cam Ward. You are worth that kind of money. And I don't want to see a system that honestly takes money away from Cam Ward in a sport where it's a contact game. And Cam Ward, how many great years is Cam Ward going to play football? He'd be, again, every football player, it's a physical, violent game. These guys are 22 years old. They're in the prime of their careers. 22 to maybe 28 if they play pro football, if they go to the NFL. And then it all depends on coaching and, do you get in front of a good franchise, all that kind of stuff. But, so Malachi Nelson, this whole world is an interesting college football world in which we live in. I know I kind of am going on a rant, but yeah. What do you guys think about this? I know you guys might get to 8 minutes of this video. What do you guys think about this move here? Putting in an experienced Will Howard with less mobility, much less explosive plays, and getting rid of Malachi Nelson and your Lincoln Riley makes no sense. No sense. So what's going on at USC?